What's up, family? Before we start today's episode, I just want to talk to you about a great service called Anchor. What is Anchor? It's the one tool you need if you're wanting to get into podcasting or find a ton of new shows. It's easy to set up and even connects you with potential sponsors. Oh, and the best part? It streams to all major podcasting platforms for the low price of free. Yup, free. So head to anchor.fm, sign up for the free, and get your podcast started today.
What's going on, fellas? Welcome to For Men by Men, a podcast where we take the internal thoughts of men to external growth, purposely creating an authentic generation of godly men. We are your hosts, Michael Aparicio,
Raji Rush,
Drexler B. James,
And Malik Williams.
All right. So in the last episode, we talked about how to pursue a woman the right way, right? It takes a true man to be able to pursue and accept potential rejection. But what about the friend? You know, the friend that people are always trying to set you up with because your genuine friendship to others looks more like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know anybody like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We starting early.
Most people believe it's not possible to have a genuine friendship with the opposite sex with no feelings attached. But there are also naysayers to the naysayers. What say you? Gentlemen, is it possible to have a non-romantic relationship with the opposite sex? Benjamin, take us on.
Absolutely. You can definitely have friendships with the opposite sex. I don't want to say I've mastered that, but I have a lot of...
Okay, I was going to say, take your time.
I have a lot of female friends that I'm very, very close to. So it is possible.
Okay.
Expound.
So there are women in my life who I see them as like my sisters. They're like the people I can call on. They know they can call on me. And there's no feelings attached for, I would say, 90% of them. They're having a couple that I have developed feelings for. But for the most part, we're just able to keep it as friends.
So what happened after you developed feelings?
That's when it gets sticky.
You took her out to dinner and didn't tell her?
It's only happened to one friend, and that didn't work out because the night I took her out was the night I found out she had a boyfriend.
Ooh.
Dang. Yeah.
So we were talking about last episode.
He's like, friend.
Yeah. Using his own zone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she should have talked.
Yeah,
I mean,
Not it.
I mean, that's when I found out she was the friend who accepted the free dinners because I was taking her out to dinner for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And I was at her door.
Wait.
Yeah,
This happened on Valentine's Day?
This happened
Like last year?
No, this was
Oh, okay.
2000. It wasn't on Valentine's Day. It was February 12th, 2012.
But it was for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So you took a girl out for Valentine's Day, and on that day, you find out she has a boyfriend.
Yes. But it's the way I found
That's
out.
dirty.
It's the way I found out,
That's
though.
how you found out, though.
I was at her door and I knocked on the door and she opened the door and she was on the phone. And I mean, she was dressed bad too. She had a short, bright yellow dress on.
I hope you
with a
listening to this,
white-
whoever you are.
Jeez, man.
She had a white stole fur on, hair done,
You see
makeup
how
done. She had
exaggerated the
taken her
short?
glasses off, had contacts. Like she was looking good. She was on the phone. She's like, "Oh, hey." my date-
Wait. You said she was looking good.
Yeah.
But she was your friend, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
Keep going.
So she's on the phone. She's like, "Yeah, my best friend is here. We're getting ready to go out to dinner." So I was like, "Oh, who was that you were with?" She's like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend."
She
I was
hit
like,
him with my best friend. is
Wait.
here.
Did she give you a gender, or did she just say my best friend?
"Give me a gender?"
Like, did she say my best friend Drexler? Or did
Yeah.
she just say my best friend?
No, she said her nickname for me was Drexy Poo. So she's like, "Oh, my best friend Drexy Poo."
So,
I ain't gonna lie.
Homie-
I ain't gonna be intimidated by,
So
by no
homie-
dude named Drexy Poo.
homie probably might not have even known that she was going
Nah,
out with a
Drexy
man.
Poo? Nah.
That was her nickname for me. But it was like that.
That's like a movie nickname.
It is.
That's a name you hear in the movies.
So she could have been playing y'all
Back in
both,
92.
basically. Anyway, that's horrible. Dressed in
Yeah.
nines, like you said, that she was dressed.
Yeah. But
That's
then
unfortunate.
She
I
gotta
was
get
like,
this dinner.
"Who's that on the phone?" She's like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend." I'm like, "How long y'all been dating?" She's like, "Oh, we've been dating for 4 months." I'm
You still
like,
went to dinner with her?
I mean, I made that commitment.
This
to
was
take her out,
2012
so-
Drex.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, at least we know that Drex is consistent because
Yeah.
he's still committed and he went.
Yes,
Because I would have been like, all right, cool.
but we ended the date early that night.
Yeah.
So
Did you make her pay?
No,
You should've.
I went.
At that moment, I would have made her pay
Mhm.
for everything.
At that
So
moment,
how many checks are there gonna be?
just put your
Nah,
hands up and keep
nah.
talking to her.
One, she got it.
Oh shoot.
It's
Her
all right,
man,
You live
got
and
it.
you
Her man
learn.
got it.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
So it's gonna sound very weird. I'm gonna say yes. Yes, that is possible
Mm-hmm.
to have fully platonic relationships with women. So contrary to popular belief, I think it's possible to be in a relationship with someone, right, and then have platonic relationships. I think in part. I even would go as far to say it's necessary, right? And the reason being, is it's good to have kind of brother-sister relationships with someone. Now, granted, I don't mean you going out, you know what I'm saying? Like you have a girl, you have a wife, but then you're going out alone with this person, or you're spending hours and upon hours talking on the phone with this person. That's not what I mean. I mean, if there's an occasional, hey, what's up? Haven't talked to you in a bit. How you feeling? How's the family? If they have kids, how's your kids? How's your husband? How's your wife? Blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. Talk to you later. Or see you at church. You know what I mean? I don't think that's anything wrong. Or if there's a situation where it's like, hey, just wanted your advice on something. Cool, 15-minute conversation. That's it. I have 3 really good. Trying to make sure there's only 3. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Really good female friends, right? I mean, if you're looking, Courtney Mickens.
You gonna name him?
I'm the names, boy.
Name him.
Okay.
He dropped
Courtney
names.
Mickens.
If you ain't say a name, you ain't the friend.
Yeah.
Full
You ain't
name.
the
You ain't
sister,
make the
sister.
list.
You
feel
can
me?
you can just do first names. That's
All right,
okay.
Courtney.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Marsha, Kimberly, and Kareem, right? Like,
That's 4.
yeah, I
Yeah,
said
he,
3,
he
4.
said he said maybe 4.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of them is the maybe fourth, but
Right. Because I was like,
Don't
you
worry
said
about it.
3.
You know what I'm saying?
Now it's 4.
I gotta check him on that.
But yeah, man, some of these girls, like I knew either since I was first year of college, way back in 2007, or first year of high school, like 9th grade, and we've developed a really cool bond. Now, granted, we talk like once every 3-4 months, you know what I mean? And it's really just a catch up. And if they're in Orlando, or if I go down to Miami, or we're in the same spot, we'll chill. But there's a lot of connection. Like Lynn knows each and every one of these women, you know what I'm saying? And has hung out with, talked to, had conversation with, had individual relationship with, like they've either hung out together or they have had conversation on the side on the phone. And I made sure to create that environment, like that secure environment. Like, listen, these are definitely just my sisters. You're my wife. You're my lady. And if we're going to hang out, we're going to hang out as a unit. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's possible. Obviously there's boundaries and whatnot, but
Yeah.
definitely think it's possible.
I think for me, I'm more I don't know, or it just depends on the man.
You don't know.
To the answer to the question,
Okay.
like, is it possible to have that? I think it just depends on the man. So for me, like growing up, like how I said a couple episodes ago, like, or the way that I saw women was just another one I could check off a list.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me as a young guy to be friends with a woman without some sort of intent from either way.
Yeah.
And I think, even when I was dating my wife, like I'll be vulnerable about it. Like, I wasn't interested in another woman, but I just didn't see how this other woman was addressing me and not addressing my wife, and asking us like spiritual conversations, or my girlfriend at the time, trying to have spiritual conversations and get guidance from us, but really only talking to me. and seeing what that did to me and my wife, girlfriend at the time. To where now it's like I'm weary about it because I know for me, I miss those things sometimes. So I don't put myself in that situation where now it's like if a woman comes up to me and wants to be a friend, off the back, like, you gotta have a relationship with my wife.
Yeah, truth.
Like you gotta be friends with my wife. My wife has to know you. Like if she don't know you, I'm definitely going, like, before I even say anything or even try to introduce you to my friends, like you gotta go through my wife.
Yeah.
And it's not like a
That's
weird
to protect
thing.
your home, man.
Yeah. It's just I'm trying to protect my home, but it's also I don't know how some people react or how the new game. I've been out the game for years.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like,
let me tell you something. It's wild in these streets right now.
Yeah. And I've seen people get themselves in like good people get themselves into bad situations because they don't protect themselves.
100%.
Where they may have a friend at work, like the whole work wife, work husband thing. Yeah, that's
weird to me.
Stupid.
It's my work wife. What?
Yeah. That is the worst thing in the world. And I've seen it to where the work wife, work husband will check the actual wife. And it's like, yo, like.
What do you mean by check? Like check in?
No,
like
no.
Check them.
Check.
Like checkmate?
Like let's say wife comes to work angry. She had a argument with husband at home. Work husband checks husband.
Nah, bro. You don't get these hands. You don't check these hands.
Exactly.
Hands.
But I
it's Christian hands.
Nah, bro.
They Christian.
David hands.
David
and Goliath hands. You know?
You got Jesus running through us, so you know.
You can do all things.
That's wild. Like our society is so.
But I think that's some of the things that makes it hard to have platonic relationships because everything around you is like it's not possible.
Yeah.
One thing both you and Raji said that I think is key is boundaries, knowing what those boundaries are. And as married men, you have to set them up. But even as single men, as me and Mike 100%. Are, we also have to have boundaries set up. I know that's something I've had people tell me in the recent months is setting up boundaries with my female friends because I'm a very open-hearted person to where I don't really think about things that I've done. And I've been in situations with single female friends that definitely could raise some eyebrows. I'm almost scared to say it, so I don't know if I should say it.
Don't say no names.
I won't say names, but there have been situations where I have been in the same hotel room with single females in the same bed. And to me, I didn't think anything was wrong with it. But from the outside looking in, it's kind of like you're sleeping with someone that you're not married to. But to me, there was no boundaries there. So
in the literal sense, yes.
Yeah, in the literal sense.
Yeah.
And but nothing happened.
Not figurative.
Nothing happened, but it's still the fact nothing happened. But it's still the fact that something could have happened, or it just doesn't look right for two single people to be in a bed together like that.
Yeah.
So it is learning how to set up boundaries to protect that friendship.
And I know we're talking about non-romantic relationships, but even in relationships, just based off of what you just said, for people who are dating and you want to take trips somewhere and you think, oh, we can save money by getting the same hotel room. Don't do it.
No.
If you don't got enough money for your own hotel room,
just don't do it.
Do not go.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough if you don't have enough intestinal fortitude to say, I know that even if I get this room, I'm gonna stay in my room or I ain't gonna open the door late at night, don't go.
And don't try to fool yourself. Like you can't be in the same room with someone that you love or gonna marry or whatever's going on that you're really highly attracted to. And be like, oh, nothing gonna happen. We're gonna be here for like 2 weeks.
Lies.
Thousands of miles away on an island.
Even with the best intentions.
Yeah, she walk out that bathroom real quick, coming out the shower, and you just happen to take a peek, like it's over. Like don't try to convince yourself that you're stronger than you are.
That's true.
Right? Like just be safe than sorry.
That's true.
That's what it comes down to.
So before my wife and I like got really serious in our relationship. And she can attest to this too. You know what I'm saying? I cut off every woman that I had an attraction, either a relationship with or an attraction to. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? We all had those moments where we had female friends be like, oh, that's my sister. But in your mind, you were like,
Exactly.
if I had the chance.
Exactly.
Or y'all messed around a couple times.
You
She's still
feel-
your sister.
Yeah,
but-
right?
Yeah.
Or you've thought about it or you've actually done it. So that was something that was really important to me. So I made sure to cut off women I've either had relations with, or in mental relations with. You know what I'm saying? Like if I thought about this woman in any way other than sisterly, she was cut off. And I would like, it was so bad. I would call, right? Like, hey, listen, I'm in a serious relationship right now. I can't be doing this no more. You cut. Boom. And I think Lynn was like a witness to one of the conversations. It was really bad.
Did you block after that?
Yeah, block. Everything was cut. Everything was blocked.
I'll say that saying that is like an immediate callback.
Yeah.
Nah, it was everything was blocked. Everything was cut. And it probably wasn't the best way to go about it, but for me at the moment, it was the best way to go about it. I need to do it.
Get it done.
I need to get it done. I need to get it cut. You know what I'm saying?
I would disagree.
You disagree?
I would think that probably is the best way to go about it.
Okay.
Because
I feel better now.
you have to there's a point where you have to lead courageously.
True.
And really and be the leader. Like we don't like people who are leaders over us. We don't like how they say certain things sometimes.
That's true.
But when we get out of ourselves, we know that what they're saying is right.
Yeah.
And it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So even doing that for Lynn, like that showed Lynn like how strong and how serious you were, which is why you're here where you are now. Like, so I think like guys, don't be punks. Like, if you got to cut people off, like cut them off and stick to your guns. Like, no matter how they feel, we can't worry too much about how other people are going to feel.
Yeah.
Unless, not unless like you worry about how God feels about your situation and then your lady.
That's true. I have a question for y'all. Who has sisters?
I have
Actual sister?
Like a biological
Yeah,
sister.
I got 5 of them.
Yeah,
I have 0.
So yeah. So okay, this is good. So I have a sister. I have an older sister. I feel like it has become easier for me to treat women like my sisters, having an actual sister. Me and my sister are mad close. Taya, what's up, girl? I know you've been watching. Love you. Me and my sister are mad close. So it's in my mind, I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna treat this person the way I treat my actual sister. And I don't know, it works like that in my head. I have switches in my head. Like when I turn the switch, it just works. So in my mind, that's what do you guys feel the same or a similar way where it's like,
no,
because
I've never.
I have a physical sister, I can now treat
So
them like my sister.
there's the talk of like treat them like your sisters or whatever, right? So in the sense of them being able to confide in me, giving advice, stuff like that, yes, right? If they need help with something, et cetera, yes. But at the same time, like I can't deny that these women are attractive. So for me, it was more like cutting out the lust, because once I cut out the lust, then I don't see him as a piece of meat anymore. I don't see him as like, yo, she dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't see him as all that. I see him as beautiful women that are my sisters. Right. In the sense of like, because I don't know, it's hard for me to see him as like a sister. But I know for me, it was rooted more about lust. So once I took that out of it, then it didn't, like, they're just beautiful women to me, like, right? They're beautiful, kind-hearted women that we are like, that's like the sister I never had kind of thing. That's where it lies for me.
Similar to Raji, having 5 sisters, but also in a very female-dominated world.
Right.
Wasn't a lot of guys in my neighborhood. Right. Weren't a lot of men in my family. Like there were, but they were kind of the distant men where they weren't around a lot. So I was always around my aunts and my female cousins. It's easy for me to look at women as my sisters because that's what I'm used to, and my female friends as sisters too. So I almost approach every woman with that mindset until I start finding them attractive. And then it's when the switch comes on. It's like, I'd like to be more than just your brother. I want to be.
So you can't find a woman attractive and not want to be with her?
I
You can't say that one more time. You can't find.
You can't find a woman attractive and not want to be with her.
So like I can look at a woman who's attractive and see that she's attractive.
Because you just said that once you start finding them attractive, then the switch comes on. You're like, oh, I want to be more than your brother.
But for me, the attraction doesn't start from the outside. It starts from the inside.
But when you see her, you don't think she's pretty or anything?
I think she's beautiful.
Okay,
but
so that's an attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess I see that she's beautiful, but then I look at her personality and then her outside becomes more beautiful to me.
So getting to know her is what gets you into the switch.
Yeah. Like there have been women I've been friends with for years and I was just like, oh, she's cute. She's beautiful. You know, dresses real good. But the more I get to know their personality, then at some point I look at them, I'm like, yo, she really is beautiful. Like, why have I not paid that much attention to it? So it's almost like there's a line I have to cross.
What you mean?
Okay.
You don't have any sisters.
Yeah, I don't have any sisters. I have cousins that I treat like my sister.
Mm.
But I don't get to see that often. So I think it is a challenge for me. Just even sitting here listening to you guys, like I think a lot of the reason that men, specifically in church, have a problem with, when people say treat them like your sister.
Mm.
Like a lot of guys don't have sisters.
Yeah.
So they don't know
what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
it's like, hi. Like that's because
weird,
then they just be like really awkward. Like, no, stop being awkward. Like,
can it be the opposite side too, where women in the church haven't had brothers and they don't know how to be friends with a guy as a brother, as opposed to having in their mind that he wants something from her? Because I hear a lot of women say every guy wants something from a woman and they expect guys who approach them to be asking for certain things.
I mean, a lot of it is like who, like in our church, right? You're friends with females. How'd you become friends with them? Did you try to hit on all of them and it didn't work out? And he was like, oh, I'm just going to be friends with them.
No.
Or did you just, that's what I'm saying. Like
Well, for me, a lot of them approached me and wanted to be friends with me because they were just like, you're kind of the quiet one. You just kind of stay to yourself. We just want to kind of know who you are.
and it's like, it's all about community too, right? When you're just doing...
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at Raji's face like he got a rebuttal coming out.
It's all about...
no rebuttal. Statements.
I feel like...
comments. No rebuttals.
I feel like when you're doing... I feel like when you're doing community, like you just get to know people and you grow. Like I think expectation is a big word here. Maybe like don't set expectations, right? Just go in there and just be part of the community.
Yeah.
And be who you are, and then that'll grow in itself. People will navigate to you, et cetera, et cetera. But when you go in there, when you go in there with the mindset, man, I'm trying to find somebody in here, then you have like in your mind, you already set yourself on that like expectation, like someone in here is going to be mine. So then every interaction you have, you're not even trying to befriend the person. You're just like, let me see if she the one, like, right? You're not even listening to what she's saying. You are, but you aren't.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to figure out, you're trying to get what you want, but you're not listening to what she's even giving you back. Right. So a lot of it is that, like, just go in there and chill. Like, just relax, dog. Just be part of the community. You know what I mean? Show up, be consistent. And in doing those things, people will then see, okay, like, yeah, because I do feel for women, like, it probably is weird to be friends with men in church because maybe men come off that way. Like they're like, I'm in here looking for my wife. So now, what is this, a puppy mill?
I mean,
everybody's a prospect.
Yeah,
but I think the same thing could be said of women. And I know this is going to come off as weird, but I do think nowadays, like, women are out here just as much as men are perceived to be. Like just as much as, like, when they say, oh, men only come to church looking for women, like, women be looking around too. They be looking to see, like, oh, who's gonna be my husband? Mm-hmm. Like those are things that they're thinking about. Now with men, they may be thinking of, dang, there's just a lot of girls. They just, they one block at a time.
Yeah.
Women are like, who am I about to walk down this aisle with?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's a just found it up. But I think it's an even playing field, like where men can think that, but women can think that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like you said, focus.
Yeah.
So the best way for us to focus is like to invest eternally. I'm gonna just keep going back. Like focus on our relationship with God, because when the time is right, God is gonna lead us to the right person.
And I would say there's a lot of beauty in having friendships with females. And I think a lot of people look at that as weird, that men and women can just be friends. And they almost put it in your mind that it can't happen. But there's something special about men and women who can be just friends because of what they can gain from each other. I've learned a lot of different things about even how to talk to women from my female friends. Growing a lot in that area. Because in Bradenton, that's a whole different story. But having female friends up here, being able to tell them, these are the things I'm processing about, life in this area, and they're able to give me some advice. I'm able to give them some advice. They know they can call on me for anything. If they need something handled, I'll come over and, do what I need to do for them. So there's some beauty that's found in friendships.
Yeah, I agree. There's, I learned before, in my old life, it was all about lust. And then once I cleaned that up, and now I have female friends that like are real good friends that you like. There's a whole different perspective, like with being a friend with a female. Like you get to hear like their likes and dislikes, and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Like literally things that you just didn't know. So yeah, I agree with you. There's something great about that.
I feel like I'm curious what your comments were though, Raji.
It was just funny how you came off like, oh well, they came after me.
Well, okay, not like they pursue me, but like not like they pursue me, but like some of my closest female friends are, women that I had seen but not really ever talked to.
I get you.
And we just kind of had a moment where we connected.
Yeah.
Like one of them, Patricia. Shout out to Trisha. She
started dropping names today.
Yeah.
People will start asking for bags.
Well, no, because I remember she and I talked a little bit at the church, and then one day she's like, let's go get lunch one day for my birthday. She said, let's go get lunch. So that's how me and her really started becoming really good friends.
But when she said it, did you take it another way? Or you took it as it's just two friends going to have lunch?
I legit took it as just two friends going to lunch.
Cool.
No,
and I think that's the.
Yeah, I get that. I get that because I was similar when I was single. Yeah, I was hanging out with mainly the female group, not just females, but obviously there are females in our group. The Kaylas and the Vasties and the Logans and whatnot, and just going out and having lunch with them and just chilling and getting to know that crowd of people.
Hey, if you're watching.
We got some technical difficulties, but it's all good. But yeah, I think again, I like what you said. I think it is healthy to have, like, if you don't have a sister, like for example in Malik's case, to have that bond with someone, granted with boundaries, with an understanding that hey, this is just platonic, which in some instances can be difficult. But if there is something that you can grow into, that brotherly, sisterly bond, I think that's good, and that's a good thing. We get so caught up into this. I have to have a husband. I have to find my husband. I have to find my wife. Mm-hmm. This person may be it. And it's like, nah, they're probably not. You know what I mean? And it's okay. And it's okay to engage in conversation with someone that's of the opposite sex, but not have any romantic expectations of it. Mm-hmm. It's possible. I think one thing that came to mind when you guys were talking was like, in relationships, man, relationships are really interesting because we want to make sure that, friendships rather, are really interesting because we want to make sure that I understand that you don't like me and you understand that I don't like you. You know what I mean? And that could be a tricky playing field to be in.
What do you mean?
Like, all right, so.
Like you have a conversation like, I don't like you, right?
Yeah. Like,
really? That's weird.
No, not that you not that you actually have the conversation, but you might have to. You feel me? Like,
if
all
you
right,
see
so
things kind of getting.
But what about having that conversation with people outside the relationship, letting them know we don't like each other like that?
I mean, that's cool, but let's say, I think there needs to be an understanding between you and that other person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, this is platonic.
Yeah, and I think like through different conversations you guys have and stuff like that, like you'll hear. So
not always though, bro.
No, you don't think so?
Bro, I've been in situations where, and vice versa, where the girl likes me and I don't like them, but I had no idea. And then you come out, you've heard like, man, I used to have a big crush on you in high school or in college.
Yes.
And it's like, what? You had a crush?
I've legit had girls write that in my yearbook.
If y'all
like, I always had a crush on you. I'm like, why'd you put this in the yearbook at the end of the year?
At the end of the year.
Told me the whole year?
Bro, no, but not even just that. Not even just that. You'd be like, I liked you since ninth grade.
Bro,
like,
we're seniors right now.
Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Don't put it in my yearbook.
Third time has come and gone.
Don't put it in my yearbook.
Like
Because now I got to look in my yearbook like, yo.
This could have been.
Yeah, and then you look for the Instagram.
But not even that.
I've done it too. I've done it too.
But just think about it. Like, look how bad they set you up for the rest of your life.
Bro.
People
now
keep
it's in your mind,
No, but people keep their yearbooks, right?
Yeah.
So they put it in there. I've liked you since ninth grade, right? Yeah. Always thinking about you forever. Good luck in life. Hearts. Let's say your wife finds that one. Let's say your wife finds that one day. like, oh, let's go look at you back in high school. You'd be like, chill. Hold on.
Chill. Let me explain.
Right, like not this year. This was a bad year.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like, that's why I feel like nowadays there has to be it doesn't have to be no deep conversation, but just like, hey, I just want to know how you really feel, and let's be fully honest with one another. I've had that conversation like, yo, we cool, like this is just friendship, this is how I feel, please feel free to share how you feel, you know what I'm saying, so we know we're on the same page. And that same thing like when we talked in the last episode as far as being intentional. I think with friendships, especially specifically with the opposite sex, you got to be intentional with the friendship side of things.
That keeps you from knocking on the door 2 days before Valentine's Day and finding out they're in a relationship.
You better than me. You still went with it and you still paid,
bro.
But again, we ended the date early.
That don't mean nothing.
That's Benjamin.
I don't mean nothing. You still went. I would have been like, oh no.
This was all before Christ, before I knew what I was doing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You still better than me. But yeah, it's important. If one person does, if you're the male and you're starting to feel like you like her that way, you need to let her know. Don't stay liking her and stay being her friend, because then that becomes awkward.
Yes.
So I think this is a good spot for an ad break. So today's podcast is sponsored by 4menbymen.com. Yep, that is us. I know it sounds weird, but that is the only way to announce that we have a brand new website. And now there is one place where you can find all the episodes, connect with us, and get your merch. That's right, we got merch too. 2 custom collections that will be here only for a limited time. So let people know that you are on the journey to being authentically you by going to 4menbymen.shop. That's 4menbymen.shop. Standard shipping rates for your area apply.
All right. So how do you honor a woman in a non-romantic relationship?
How do you honor a woman? That's such an interesting question.
So
that this is just for us. It is this was one of the questions that came in on Instagram. We did a poll asking like, what do you guys want us to talk about? And this was one of the most popular things where how do we do that?
So men want to know. This is,
I don't know.
I'm happy that this is the breakdown of the question, because that means that there are men out there that are wanting to do well, wanting to do right, and they legit just don't know.
Actually, I renege on that statement. I got
it. Okay. So, Raji, the men want to know, how do you honor women in a non-romantic? And actually, I think like this question is probably best for both of you, right? Because both of you have gone through it and you've gone to the finish line.
Right.
Whereas Drex and I are
the next race
in that space. So how do you honor a woman in a non-romantic relationship? What was that?
Yeah, that's actually, now I'm thinking about it, that's a good question. So I think first and foremost, to honor that person, we're charged as men to cover and protect women's hearts, 100%. So that's the first thing that came to mind, actually, when I started kind of going deep into it in my mind. So if there's a woman that you have a platonic relationship with, guard her heart, man, 100%. And that means even from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From yourself. Because there are times when maybe at first it comes off platonic, but then when you start investing, right, you have those long conversations over the phone. You start going out to dinner or going out to lunch a little bit more than usual. There may be feelings that, spark on her side, right? So we have to be mindful that even though we stated in the beginning or shown or stated, I think it should be both, that this is platonic in the beginning, just like we would in a romantic relationship, keeping it consistent, we should be consistent in our platonic relationship, like having those boundaries. Like I'm not going to talk to you after 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk to you longer than an hour on the phone. We're not going to hang out by ourselves often, if at all. That's a tricky one, but if you have to reassure, make sure you're just hanging out in groups. If you want to have her over, have friends over or have a small group of friends over. You know what I'm saying? Protect her heart in that way. I think that's a great way of honoring your platonic friendship. You know what I'm saying?
I think just to piggyback off of that, if it ever becomes a point where she asks why do you do this? Like that's your way of showing like I'm trying to honor you and respecting you. Not to say that I'm some dog out here and trying to like if you were to talk for 2 hours, we would be talking about these things and stuff like that. But nah, I'm just trying to show you. I'm just trying to show you and give space for the man in your life.
That's good.
To understand I'm creating these boundaries and this, you got it, bro. Like I don't want you talking to me for an hour or more than an hour on the phone. Yeah. Even an hour for me talking to somebody like that. Yeah, that's a long time. Like unless it's like emergency or something like that, like I'm probably not gonna be doing that. But understanding and creating space so that she understands that there's levels to this. Like I'm down here.
Yeah.
Like it's God, your husband, kids, we here. Like that's
kids.
I mean, if they're married, a husband. But like even in without that, just God
and everything else.
Yeah,
God, husband, and then everything else.
Yeah, I was just trying to like if they're dating, like I don't want to, because it's still do it, but just giving that space to show like like I respect you.
Yeah,
because I think even just flipping that question, how do you honor women? How do you respect women in a non-romantic relationship? Like that's just really what the question is, and it's just showing like you the same way that you would honor a woman that you're trying to pursue, like certain things that you wouldn't do, you just do that same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think also with respect and boundaries, knowing the relationship you have with that woman, but also the relationships they may have with other people. So what I mean by that is, one of my best friends from college, she got engaged. I met her boyfriend before they got engaged. So I knew once they started going down that path towards marriage, how I interacted with her had to be different. And I had to respect that. And she didn't understand that at first. Because she was like, well, you're my best friend. We've been friends for 10 years. I'm like, yeah, but you about to become a wife. I don't want the friendship we had when we were both single to carry into your marriage, because the husband could look at that some type of way.
Yeah.
And I remember she called me and she was like, I want you to be in the wedding as a groomsman. And the first thing out of my mouth was, let me talk to your fiance. She's like, no, he's cool with it. I'm like, no, let me talk to him, because I'm going to be on his side, not your side.
Yeah, he should be calling me, not you.
Yeah.
Right?
And to her,
really weird. Yeah.
To her, it didn't make sense. But when I told her, I'm going to be standing there saying I'm standing on his side of his accountability, but he doesn't know me. You know me. So I want to talk to him and make sure he's actually okay with this.
Did you do it?
Was he okay with it?
He was fine with it. But I had to let her know that's
was he
what.
fine, or was he like, yes?
Or you just trying to make her happy?
He was like, yes. He was like, I know you're an important part of her life. You know, you are important to her. So I do want you to be in the wedding. I'm cool with you being a groomsman in the wedding. But I was like, I want to hear it out of his mouth, not from her mouth.
I would say no.
And
Yeah, I'd be like, nah, click.
nah, I would have been cool if he said no.
Yeah, I'm like, hey man.
I would love to
Yeah,
sit
this
and
ain't
support you on your family side. Like,
Yeah.
No, if he had said no, I would have gotten that. But my big thing was just I wanted him to say it,
Yeah, no,
not
that's real.
her to say it.
That's real.
And she, again, it was hard. Even when I went up there for the wedding, she wanted to do certain things. I was like, nah, you getting married tomorrow. We can't still be doing this. Like,
that's kinda,
she calling and texting. I'm like, no.
Questionable.
that's kind of weird. Yeah, that's kind of questionable.
But again, that's just, both of us are open like that with each other. But I was like, we got to draw the line now because you a wife.
The boundaries.
What say you?
How do you honor a woman in a non-romantic relationship?
you have a lot of friends
I think
women
for me,
that are-
yeah, I
that
do.
are
I mean, I
not-
have a decent amount of
that are
female
not
friends
like
that are non-romantic. Well, yeah. There is one situation that I need to clean that up. But anyhow.
vulnerable. Okay, we're good. We can be
I mean,
vulnerable.
this is transparency, right? Gotta be real. For me, a lot of it, and this is, and for me, this is based on my life, right? So everyone will look different. If this is one of your issues, then I can tell you what worked for me. For me, lust was an issue, right? So investing eternally is what I needed to do in order to honor women in that way. Because when you start reading about what the book says about women, you know, like if they run through your mind a certain way, like you're already committed, you know what I mean? Like reading the Bible and getting that word and letting that run through me can then let me be able to be friends with these females, right? Like I can be friends with these beautiful women that we have at our church and not be like, yo, you seen so-and-so? You know what I mean? Like it's not, it doesn't do anything for me because that's not I took my mind and my thoughts out of that. Yes, they're attractive women. Yes, they're beautiful, but like, this is where it is. Yeah. And as a man being the lead, conversation is important. If you open a part of the conversation and like whatever comes out of your mouth, right, is what you're saying you're comfortable with talking. And so that opens the door to something.
That's good.
Right. So if you start opening conversations about, I don't know, sexual things, whatever. Yeah. Like, don't like, that's 100%.
You are no longer platonic friends.
I don't bring that up at all. Like, we don't talk about those things. Because what is that like? Because then while we're talking about things and you start describing things, you know what I mean? I'm looking at you while you describe. Yeah, I'm gonna start thinking, and then that just takes it. So, like honoring a woman, honestly, is making sure that you as a man can even control yourself, right? And that includes investing internally, watching your mouth when you're around them, like not even hearing them talk about other things. You know what I mean? Like all that. So honoring them is taking care of you first.
That's cool.
So you can even be around them.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking about when we were all talking, it's putting up these boundaries platonically sets you up so well if things become romantic.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It sets you up so perfectly. And so really cool guy, really great guy, really great guy, James Monk.
Yes.
He told me this years ago when I was just a knucklehead. And I was coming out of the whole, you know, sleeping with women and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, when you set those boundaries, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was saying, when you set those boundaries now and things, let's say things do become romantic, she now has an understanding of how you set boundaries with women. So she has very little. She doesn't have to be so self-conscious or there's no jealousy that needs to come into play because she knows like, well, he did it for me.
That's good. Yeah.
And now he's with me. Right.
And it takes away all those insecurities.
Takes away. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Takes away the insecurity. And so like he did it with me and he's with me now. So I know he's going to be doing this with other women.
Yeah.
And it's just so perfect, man. And so I see it with my wife where, and again, I have consistency with it, but because I laid down the foundation of okay, these are my friends. These are how I treat my friends. The way, like, even at girls at the church, like, women that we all know. If Lynn isn't, oh dang it, if Lynn isn't there, I treat him one way. If Lynn is there, I treat him the exact same way, and she sees it, right? So there's a lot of consistency with that.
Yeah.
That just sets up such a good ground or such a good foundation
Mm-hmm.
for your woman to have confidence in you as a man. Like, so my wife really doesn't ask me much, even though I still tell her because I want to be respectful to her. Like, hey, I had a work meeting with such and such and such. It was a woman, blah, 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 blah. This is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or I was hanging out with blah, 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 blah at the church. You know what I mean? This is what the conversation was about. Or even conversations if like the 4 girls that I mentioned. I guess I could say Cecilia too. Really cool girl. Anyways.
5.
Yeah. But she's fairly new and Lynn knows her. But if she calls, if either one of them call and Lynn is there, speakerphone.
Yes.
Hey, Lynn is here. Say what's up.
Hey, Lynn, blah, 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 blah.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
It's your way of letting everybody in on that moment.
It's just speakerphone. She can hear the conversation. You know what I mean? And I think that's what tied to the fact that Lynn is really chill with stuff like that. But I think that helped her understand, like, okay, I ain't got nothing really to worry about because he's consistently telling me about conversations or interactions or whatever that he's had with women, and he's keeping me, again, bringing her into
and you're going out of your way to let her know
100%.
every single time, like
100%.
and I think a lot of men are just like, oh, I gotta do all that.
Nah, bro.
Yeah. So two things. One, just on that, like, whatever you did to pursue her, to get her, don't ever stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to do that and more.
Yeah.
And it's not just to say things get stale, but it's for you to grow and seeing her in a different way. And then just like how you were saying before, because I was trying to keep it like just friends, but I think creating those boundaries, it will set you up for, it makes you the standard. Even if she doesn't see you that way, she says, like, if a guy is acting stupid or, just trying to be up with her all times of night, and she'll sit there and be like, man, Mike don't do that. Mike ends to call me at 9. And it may not be something that she ever notices until somebody else is not doing it, or if something else goes wrong. Like, nah, I have men in my life who respect me, who value me more than what you're valuing me now, and they don't even see me romantically. So I don't have to take mess from anybody else.
And that's what brothers do.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's the thing that brothers can really like hit home with. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think that platonic relationships are almost a necessity. So you can get an idea, especially if a woman doesn't have any brothers or doesn't have a lot of male figures. You can get an idea of what respect from a man looks like, and vice versa.
So you kind of answered it, but I guess I'll ask the question for clarification. But can honoring a woman be being that? How do I phrase this? So there are some female friends who I'm very close to that I have told them, when they start dating, I just want to meet the guy to make sure the guy is a good guy for them, in a sense.
Oh, the interview process.
Yeah, because
Yeah, for sure.
Because
and if they're coming to you, then that means you're.
Well, is it you told them that you want to do this? That you want to do it?
Some I've told, some have asked me to be that guy that, when I start dating, I want you to be one of the few guys that he has to go through.
And these are women in the world or
in the
Christian
church?
Women? In church, okay.
So,
in the church.
So I would say the ones that came to you is okay. The ones that you went to and said that to is not okay.
Okay, that's why I asked.
Why do you say it's not okay?
Because I think you're trying to take that leadership role in somebody's life that they might necessarily have wanted you to take, or they may see it as, you like me, so you ain't gonna let nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that becomes weird.
That's good.
Yeah. But if they come to you and say that, now they see you as brother.
Yeah.
Benjamin out here offering services.
Yeah, the ones who came, Drexler responded. But Benjamin offered.
I say, don't say it that way. That could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah. And I do want to send a challenge out there, right? Like,
challenge them up, bro.
Get them.
So the men that, sent this question in to make it the most popular one. If you don't know, walk up to the women that you feel you have non-romantic relationships with and ask them. Ask them. It's like, hey, do you feel that I'm honoring you? And just listen. They'll tell you. Like, if you're friends like that, they'll tell you. And they'll be like, well, that one time, or, whatever. Like, just walk up to them and ask them. And in that, like, because the biggest thing for me was that before, in my mind, I thought I was one thing, right? Until I spoke it out loud, or until I asked a question, and like, well, you're kind of a douche sometimes. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm just trying to, you're trash. Like, oh, really? And in my mind, I'm just trying to say what I need to say, and my brashness comes off as that. So sometimes you don't know. In your mind, you think you're doing good, you're looking great, but you're not.
Yeah.
So
scripture that we want to leave you guys with is 1 Timothy 5, 1 and 2. And it says, do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity. So it is.
Bible has a little something for everything.
For everything.
Yeah,
so it's really just be pure in what you're doing. Like, don't come in with no hidden intentions. Like, if you already have a hidden intention, like, there's nothing platonic about the relationship.
And you're already not honoring.
Exactly.
You're lying. You're not being honest.
Exactly.
Right? Lying is not honoring.
Transparency, honesty is key.
So on top of that challenge, we have, just like every month, the question that we are going to leave you guys with. And so for over the next 3 weeks, we want you guys to go out, find a guy, and ask them, do you have any non-romantic relationships with women? If so, how do you keep it platonic? If not, why not?
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. We pray that this conversation has given you food for thought and to start your own conversations with the circle of brothers and grow in authentic manhood.
And we'd love to hear your responses in the comment section on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Just remember, follow us on Instagram at 4mbm.podcast.
We are 4 Men by Men, and we'll see you next time.